Just I recognize your name.
Great. Well, let's start. And as the facilitator of an empathy circle, my role is to be the first listener, that I can model listening. And so that means I need to invite one of you to be the first speaker. So who would like to be the first speaker? And remember, you can talk about whatever you'd like. And we are recording, so yeah, so just be aware of that. And I am also grabbing my phone here so that I can time us. Yeah. So Brenda, Deirdre, would you be willing to be the first speaker?
Sure. I feel rusty, but I'm happy to be back in this context and in this company. It's nice to
Okay,
see you again, Edwin. So my name's pronounced Deirdre, and
Deirdre.
I
Okay.
am on the West Coast, and I have recently joined an organization that I tracked since 1996. And I have sort of jumped into a leadership role. And
Mm,
I'm thinking deeply about how a peace organization embodies peaceful practices as it gets its good work done. And I have been hoping that the empathy circle concept would be one of the tools that the board and membership can embrace to continue to do this good work of keeping doors open and minds open through hospitality around the world.
great. Can I invite you to pause for a moment so I
Yeah,
can
that's a
repeat
lot.
back what you've said? Yeah, so you've just joined an organization that you've been tracking for a while, since 1996, and it's a peace organization, and you are in a leadership role, and you are really curious about what practices, possibly empathy circles, you can bring in so that this peace building organization also gets to practice peaceful relationships internally. Is that close?
It is. Thank you.
Oh.
I also feel that when I first became involved in empathy circles, we were in the first Trump administration. And
Mhm.
so we were really trying to connect with folks who may not have aligned with our political beliefs, but were humans on the same planet with us. And we were trying to build those bridges. And I remembered what the Occupy movement brought forth and what it meant with Edwin's work to try and stitch folks together just by hosting the tent. And I'd love to see us combine this work with Indivisible. Um, so show
Mm.
up but connect.
Yeah, so you've mentioned a couple of different political organizations. You've mentioned Occupy and how you felt that there was some good connection there. And then you'd like to see it connect somehow with the indivisible work. And you also mentioned that during the first Trump administration, you all were working on bringing people with different political views to the table so that people could gain deeper understanding of one another. Is that close?
Yes, that's it. How are we doing for time?
Got another minute and a half if you'd like.
All right. So I'm on my way to Dijon, France for the triennial conference of Servas International. That's Esperanto, the Servas. And I'm thinking about ways that I might have sort of unconference moments where I invite people in person to an empathy circle to just reflect on what it means to be representing, 160 countries or however many will actually be able to get into France, which is not as restrictive as the US right now, which is nice.
Yeah, so you're on your way to this trip where it's a conference of Esperanto.
Not exactly.
Not exactly. Okay. Service International is connected with Esperanto in some
The
way.
word Servas. Thank you for giving me a moment to clarify. The word Servas is the name of an international organization that was founded in 1949 to build peace through hospitality.
Ah, building peace through hospitality. And so there's going to be people from a lot of different countries there in France. And you are looking forward to exploring potential opportunities to actually engage people in empathy circle practice in person.
Yes.
Mm,
Thank you
yeah.
for listening.
Yay. Okay. Do you feel complete for now?
I do feel completely heard. Thank you for the clarification opportunity as well.
Sure. So, since I was listening, this means that I get to now go into the role of speaking. So, I'm going to invite someone, not Deirdre, since she was just speaking, but I'm going to invite someone else to be my listener. Deirdre is going to shift into the active witness role, or sorry, silent witness role, silent listener. And Brenda, would you be willing to be my active listener?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I have no idea what I'm going to say, but I'm going to start my timer. And just take a big breath here. Hmm. Noticing a little bit of nervousness right now. And what else? Yeah, just real delight to be here, part of an empathy circle again. So I'll pause there.
Okay. So what I heard you say is that you took a deep breath. You feel like that relaxes you, taking a deep breath, and that you feel somewhat nervous, but it's all balancing out, and you're happy to be here.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Yeah, it's funny. I will speak at the drop of a hat for a cause that I really care for, but the truth is I'm a little shy and I have a little bit of social anxiety and meeting people for the first time and all that. It's just like this little fluttering around the edges. So I'm going to take a second deep, big breath. Ah, okay.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that there are times when you have social anxiety. However, if it's a topic that you're passionate about or a topic that you feel really resonates with you, you tend to not have so much anxiety, and you tend to just be able to express yourself a little bit more better with a little better without having any type of anxiety. I think is what I heard.
Yeah, thank you. That's close. I think I still have anxiety, but I just push myself right through it. It's like, oh, this is important. I'm not going to pay attention to that anxiety. But then what happens is that afterwards, when I'm relaxing, then I start to feel it, right? Then it's like, oh. So yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing you say that you normally push through anxiety, even though in the back of your mind you know that it's still there, and it tends to surface afterwards. It's still there. It never really leaves. However, you're able to push through it at times and be aware that it may still be there somewhere in the background.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It feels really good to hear that back. Yeah. So I really care about empathy circles. So when Edwin asked me if I would present something at his uh, Empathy Circle Summit, I didn't think twice about it. I was like, of course. So here I am meeting wonderful new people who are also Empathy Circle practitioners. And yeah, just really, really happy to be here.
Okay. So I heard you say that you're happy to be here, and when Edwin suggested that you participate in the Empathy Summit, you did not hesitate to accept the offer, and you feel grateful that you're able to participate. And one of the things I think that you are looking forward to and have enjoyed is meeting new people and seeing new faces. And
Yeah.
I'll
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. I think the last thing that I'll say is that I really find Katrine's work to be a delight, and I met her thanks to Edwin. I'm doing a fellowship in Germany right now, and he said, "Oh, there's this person in Germany who's a professor, and she is really into empathy circles." And so she and I had a lovely Zoom call about 2, 3 weeks ago. And yeah, I'm just really delighted to meet her and to meet each of you here. And Brenda, I'm really looking forward to your turn when I get to learn a little bit more about you because you'll be the next speaker because you've been the listener.
Okay. So because I've been the listener, I'll be the next speaker. You're excited to hear me speak, and you were fortunate enough to meet. Uh, I didn't catch the name, Miss Z, in Germany, and you're excited to be one of her cohorts and to get to hear her speak and to get to know her a little bit better. Also, I think is what I
Thank
heard.
you. Thank you so much. I feel fully heard. And that's it for my turn.
All right. So, Edwin, will you be my listener?
Listening.
Okay. So, I have not participated in a while, but I have been utilizing the empathy practice and I love it.
Yeah, you haven't been here for a while, but you've been using the empathy circle and you're really supporter love it as a practice.
Yeah. So, just a little bit about me. I am a workplace, family, and divorce mediator, and I substitute teach in schools because I love working with children, but I'm passionate about mediation. And what I can say is that I love empathy. Empathy, coming into this process, it changed my practice, my mediation practice. It's changed my life and my family because I'm able to listen without judgment. I didn't realize how judgmental I was until, the empathy circles, even though I've taken some spiritual warrior classes and things like that. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, so you really appreciate the empathy circle and that you learned more about non-judgmental listening, and you're a mediator and also a teacher as well.
Yeah. And so, one of the things that I can say as a mediation trainer, one of the hardest things for people to do, no matter what your race, ethnicity, culture, no matter how you identify, one of the toughest things to do is to evaluate yourself.
And you find that no matter who you are, it's the hardest thing is to really understand yourself.
Yes. And it doesn't matter your race or ethnicity or anything like that. Self evaluation is difficult.
Yeah, it doesn't matter race, religion, whatever the category. It's like self-evaluation. It's just the difficult to
Yeah.
do.
And the climate that we're in right now, what would it look like if we just had a place and a space where there was no judgment? What would that look like?
And looking at it sounds like our cultural situation, political. If we just had a non-judgmental space, what would that be like? Just sort of setting the question.
Yes, because things are not always what they appear. I recently met a young lady who her family has, I guess you want to say, put her out to pasture. They no longer want to have anything to do with her because of her political affiliation, and she's so young. It's just so sad how we judge each other.
There's somebody that you know that was put out to pasture, meaning that maybe the family or someone, whoever, didn't, because of her political beliefs, didn't want to relate to her, and you just find that sad.
Yeah. So because of her political beliefs, her family no longer wants to have
Mm.
anything to do with her. And she's really young. She's like the youngest one in the family. So she's not invited to events anymore. She's not invited to family functions. And it's difficult.
Yeah, it's really difficult for her because she's the youngest one in the family, and she's just not invited to any family events, functions.
Yeah, I'll leave it there. I feel heard.
Okay. Um, Deidre,
Yes.
um, yeah, it's great to see you and Brenda again. Haven't seen either of you for a while, so it's a real delight to reconnect with you both.
I'm I hear that you're happy to see us, both Brenda and myself, because it's been a while.
Yeah, we had a lot. Brenda was really involved with our work here before, so I hope she'll be a speaker at some point in the future. So we have August and November summit, so I hope I'll send you some info to speak. Would love to have you speak, especially around empathy and conflict mediation.
So I'm hearing that You're especially delighted that Brenda's participating today, and you'd like to invite her in, perhaps as a speaker, given her background and your respect for her work, as I heard that.
Yeah, and exactly. And also, I was just really taken with the speakers today. There's just a depth of insight and warmth and care and kind of humanity that kind of warms my heart. And it's not just warms my heart, but it's also the insight somehow kind of being insightful and, having so this clarity kind of gives me hope, that we can solve these problems. We can build this empathy movement, with this mindset and skills.
Well, you're so pleased at the way today is coming together with the speakers that you've heard, but also the depth and clarity of their thinking, and it does give you hope for what this process might allow for going forward.
Yeah, and as Jana mentioned, this year as we've been focusing on the empathy circle, and next we want to focus on building the empathy movement. So try to bring all those different tribes that Rosa was talking about, be it NVC, focusing, human-centered design, etc. Bring them together around this topic, a shared value that we all have of empathy, and really move that forward.
I hear that you're recognizing that there are a lot of contributory streams, nonviolent communication, et cetera, and that we could all come together for moving the empathy movement forward.
Yeah. And I do feel that too. I think Rosa mentioned that all this talk, all these books against empathy, they sort of promote the topic. It kind of brings it into the culture. It's like kind of like Trump, like no, publicity is bad publicity at one level because it kind of raises the topic. And yeah.
So I'm hearing that you're actually a little grateful for the anti-empathy publications because they are lifting up the concept, and you likened it to the current president and the concept of there's no such thing as bad publicity.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, and the only thing is, I've reached out to all those authors, to have a dialogue, and they say, "Oh, we don't want to talk." So that's the one problem is that a lot of them just don't want to have a dialogue. So yeah, yeah, and I'm just not sure how to address that.
I hear that you were looking at the publications as an opportunity to create dialogue, but the authors have been resistant,
Hmm.
and and that's maybe a moment of pause.
Yeah, one thing is to be more assertive. I think you were mentioning the empathy tent, but is that taking the empathy tent out can take it out to the Republican convention, the Democratic convention can take it out to the street, could take it out to CPAC, which is a big conservative, conference, or even set it up in front. So there could be more of a extroverted, assertive, to be out there. So that's kind of one strategy, but it's very time consuming. We need a lot of people to support that.
You're thinking about directions forward for the empathy movement, and you heard me bring up the empathy tent and thinking about how we might be present in both Democratic and Republican circles and be visible, but it's also labor intensive and it requires a lot of volunteer energy to make that happen.
Yeah, it was maybe, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago, there was a conference in Los Angeles, Politicon, and a bunch of us went there. We had the empathy tent, and we really connected with a lot of these media people. Had I can't remember this African American that's on the News Hour. I don't know what his name. I can't. But I ran into him, and he held up a sign. I support a culture of empathy. So it was like a lot of people sort of at that caliber, of national media that we that it's we kind of started connecting with them, and I can just see, connecting to be more part of the national debate, which we're not really part of the national debate, it seems to me.
So, a strategy that you had back in Los Angeles for Politicon actually might have helped you get into a national debate that we've felt like we're excluded from at the moment.
Yeah, I feel very heard. Thank you.
All right.
So you're the speaker again. You get to choose your listener.
All right. May I invite you, Brenda, to be my listener?
Yes.
All right. I am I'm feeling really grateful right now because a lot of my participation in various communities was started during the pandemic out of a sense of desperation.
Okay, so I think what I heard you say is that you're very grateful for the space that you're in right now. And regarding empathy, a lot of the processes and procedures started during the pandemic era.
Yes, yes. And and on the one hand, we are out in the community again, we're walking freely, we're engaging with folks, but a sort of veil is descending once again in the kinds of ways that we feel that we can connect.
Okay. So what I heard you say is that the veil is descending again in a way that we can connect, and that we're somewhat free out walking around. Unlike during the pandemic, we weren't able to walk around, and that you're out in the community and you have a sense of peace about that.
Mhm. But I think that this hybrid experience of planning online and then using the energy to get out in person and connect is the key.
I think what I heard you say, it is key to get out in the community, even though the hybrid approach is doing the planning internally inside and then taking that on the outside has been rewarding for you based on your smile.
and and also this sense of recognition of coming back into this space and saying, ah, yes, those are like-minded folks, but also people who are in unique positions to stretch my way of thinking about things. And again, back to gratitude.
I think what I heard you say, that right now you're in a space of learning, even though you may or may not have some of the same beliefs as the people that are in the circle with you. However, you welcome an opportunity to learn and meet new people and to grow and to, even if it's people that you don't agree with, you're happy to be in the same space with people. Is what I
Yes,
heard.
I do. I feel heard in that.
Okay. All right. So Rosa, will you be my listener?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I like to taking the deep breath. I actually love that. I love box breathing. So I resonate with that.
Yeah, you like box breathing, and so you resonate with taking a big breath.
Yes, it's ironic that I was on a mediation call and we were on the mediation call for maybe for 5 minutes, and someone mentioned, "Hey, did you know ABC passed away?" 50 people on the call, and it was news to four people, so they just like couldn't function after hearing that. And so the
Mhm.
only thing I could think of, y'all, let's breathe. Let's breathe
Mhm.
through this, because it was tragic for somebody that didn't know somebody you love and care about passed away. I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so you were on a call recently where some news was shared that maybe some people had heard about it, but some other people hadn't. And it was really intense news about a very dearly beloved person in this community having passed. And you realize that this was a moment where it could be really helpful to just invite people to pause and breathe as a way of connecting more deeply.
Exactly. And the other thing I can say is that sometimes when you introduce something, there's somebody else that know how to introduce it introduce something new. So there was another person on the call said, "Hey, let's try this diaphragmic breathing, which was even better than the box breathing."
Ah, okay. So there's different ways to do practices, and somebody else also had a breathing practice that was different, but had other aspects, and you enjoyed having the opportunity to learn that.
Yeah, so we were able to go on with the call and do everything neat. But Evelyn spoke to something that I'm really passionate about, and I just wanted to say, how do we deal with difficult people in difficult situations when we love them?
Mm, mm, mm. So how do we deal with difficult people in difficult situations when we really care about them? And yeah, would you like to say more about that?
What I can say is during difficult times and dealing with difficult people, it is difficult for them to hear what you're saying. You're saying it, but they can't hear you because they're in a different space.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. So people may be in a very different space, which makes it hard for them to hear. And this is part of what it means to be in a difficult time right now. Yeah.
Yes. And to my point with empathy listening circles, when it's something that impacts you or it's something that's personal, it's hard for you to hear.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. If it's something that impacts you personally, then even when you're in an empathy circle, it can be really hard to to hear for sure.
Yeah. And one example is a parent at a nursing facility. I remember a couple of years ago, I was on an empathy circle, and we started talking about parents in nursing homes. That resonated with me. So it was difficult for me to hear some of the things that they were saying because it resonated with me.
Sure. So you had a personal experience of having a parent in a nursing home. And so when somebody else started speaking about that, it was hard to hear because there was a lot of resonance and overlap with your own experience.
Yeah. So empathy is very wonderful in helping you get there, but you have to also be aware that during the empathy circle, if it's something that really impacts you, it's difficult for you to hear.
Yeah. 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 So I guess what I'm hearing you say is something like that we each have to be aware that there are topics and circumstances which can make it harder for us to hear, even if we know the practice and love the practice, still with certain topics, when they impact us personally, it's really a stretch.
I feel heard.
So, Edwin, would you be willing to listen to me?
Listening.
Hmm. Let's see. Hmm. Yeah, I'm still sighing.
Still sighing.
Sighing, yeah. Ah, yeah. Ah, yeah, my mind's drawing a blank so I'm just gonna be here. I'm just gonna breathe and not feel like I have to say something, but just kind of take in the attention of you as my listener.
Yeah, there's nothing's coming up to share, so you're gonna just sit and take the time in silence and appreciate our attention,
Yeah,
presence.
for at least a little bit. I mean, something might come. Oh, I know.
Hmm.
Here's something really, really, really big and juicy, which I'm just gonna touch on here.
So something did suddenly pop into your mind, and it's big and juicy, and you just kind of want to touch on it.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So there's a woman named Vanessa Andreotti who wrote a book called Hospicing Modernity. And she is trained, is the term for it, a particular AI chatbot to have uh, a very relational mindset.
So there's this author of a book, uh,
Yeah.
midwifing modern, what,
Hospicing
a
modernity.
hospicing modernity, and it's about an AI chatbot that's been trained for.
Well, yeah, the book isn't about an AI chatbot, but The book is about how we need to shift our way of thinking to a more relational way of thinking, a more indigenous
Mm.
way of thinking, but she's trained this chatbot with this book, and so I mean, I guess I'm just kind of explaining why and how I ended up getting into conversations with this chatbot because it's a chatbot that she's trained, right?
Mm.
And so I was very intrigued because of who it is, because of her and how much respect I have for her thinking in this book and all that. And the thing I want to say is that at least this chatbot, I don't know about other chatbots because I'm not somebody who's going around doing a lot of AI experiments or whatever, but this chatbot is incredibly good at listening and reflecting back.
Mm. So there's this author that is it the she was involved in this creating this chatbot that it does empathic listening. It's just amazing how
Yeah,
good it is. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
amazing to you that it.
yeah, yeah. And what it makes me feel is even more strongly that it's important for humans to learn to do this. Like, I don't want to just say, oh, next time we're lonely, just go, contact with the chat bot and have the chat bot reflect back and help you. And I mean, it's like, I'm not trying to diss the chat bot at all. I'm just trying to say that it's made me feel even more strongly about the importance of humans learning to do this.
Mhm. So seeing how good this chatbot is at empathic listening is it makes even more strongly to see the importance of human beings that learn this process or do this. And you're not dissing the chatbot, just this it
Yeah.
just shows you the importance of this.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. One thing is that when it's not used in careful hands, like there can be chatbots there's an epidemic of lonely people there, and there can be chatbots that people start relying on the chatbots and then share a lot of confidential information. And then if that ends up in the wrong hands, that can, be really harmful for the people involved. So that's just one of the many concerns about how good chatbots are at reflecting back and making you feel heard and understood and loved and seen like never before in your life.
So you're just having some concern about these chat bots that people are gonna there's all these lonely people, they're gonna share their deepest, darkest secrets, and who knows where that's gonna end up. So it's a real concern.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm just going to leave it there. I think there's also a lot of creative potential. Like I think a lot of people who are, I don't know why that thing just did that, but a lot of people who are artists and writers, it's like I've found myself like able to take some writing that I'm working on and get some really useful feedback. And so, I mean, I think chatbots can be helpful, and it's a big issue, and I just wanted to raise it. Thank you.
Yeah, they could be helpful, the AI chat bots, and it's a big issue that you want to just raise in the circle. Okay,
Thank you.
great. And Brenda, to you.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot with AI, kind of researching, kind of tracking all the new, things that are coming out about it. It's pretty amazing what it can do.
What I heard you say is that you've been working with AI and you've been tracking some of the trends, and it's amazing to you the things that AI can do.
Uh, Rosa and I did a chapter for a book on empathy circles for museums, and I asked the AI to kind of give an outline or draft. And actually, the introduction we sort of used it, modified in the chapter, and the editor said, "Oh, that's a really good introduction." So it's yeah, I'm planning on using it for my empathy definition work.
I heard you say that you and Rosa collaborated on a book and that you use the AI to come up with the title and just an outline of the book, and you are actually utilizing and using
Yeah, I've even had a whole series of questions. How do we build an empathy movement? And I went through all the different all the different AIs and asked them that question and just put together a whole list. So they kind of lay out a whole structure and format. And yeah, and it has a lot of ideas, it just kind of gives a lot of jumping off places, for my mind. So I find it very helpful.
I think what I heard you say is that you find AI helpful and that you put information into Bard, Gemini, Chat GPT. You put information to those different AI portals, and each one of them give you an outline on how to be successful in empathy being a global model,
Hmm.
and that you plan to use some of those tips and techniques that you got from AI.
Yeah, and we've been doing a meeting with Jody Jensen. We meet every Tuesday to discuss the definitions of empathy, for that project. And we've probably done 6 or 7 meetings. I put all those into an AI, and it synthesizes it, and it actually creates a TV podcast. An audio podcast of a man and a woman discussing all the work, and it's really, it's just like, and it's really good. Yeah. So
Okay, I heard you say that you were working with Jody Jensen and you guys put in the definitions regarding empathy and empathy circles into the AI, and it created a automated podcast with a male and a female actually giving scenarios and real
hmm
life things that can make the podcast successful regarding empathy.
yeah, and I run everything through. Now this is actually running through Zoom AI. So at the end there'll be a report on this, and then I drop it into Otter AI, which will go through and transcribe everything, and then it'll also create an AI summary. So yeah, it's gonna really it's really taking off.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you're utilizing AI on several levels, especially AI note taking and transcription and summarizing. So this particular Zoom that we're on, you're going to utilize it, and it will outline and sum up everything that we've said, put it in condensed notes, and make it easy to assemble.
And then you can also take characters and, public figures and kind of animate them too, create little videos. The AI will create videos. So I just been imagining, create an empathy circle with Trump and, a couple other people, and they're having an empathy circle, and or you can put into Trump's mouth, say, "Oh, empathy circle is the greatest thing. They're the best," or something. It's like, yeah. There's a lot of yeah, creativity, possibility, I think, with AI.
Okay, so what I heard you say is that you've been visualizing a lot of out of the box creative things that you can do, and one of them would be, excuse me, with the president that is in office right now to be able to create things coming out of his mouth in real
Hmm.
time that he may not be saying and thinking, and we know he don't feel. So I'm sorry, I apologize, but I couldn't. So that's interesting
Yeah,
that you are doing a lot with AI and the videos are easily done and
yeah.
assembled.
Yeah, I'm really trying to see how we can apply it to the work that we're doing. So it, yeah, just looking for the opportunities and sort of experimenting with it. And I could imagine an AI character. It'd be interesting to have an AI character as one of the participants in an empathy circle like this with us. What would
Okay.
the effect be? So it's like just a lot of experimentation
So you're
possibilities.
visual. I'm hearing you say you're visualizing a lot of things, and one of those things would be what would it look like for an AI to participate in an actual empathy listening circles with the group, and
I
what that
feel.
might, what we might all might learn or might not learn, and you think that that's one of the things that in the future you would like to see happen for empathy listening circles, is
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
feel
hearing you say.
very heard. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
excited about the possibilities. Yeah, and I feel heard.
Yeah. Okay. So what I can say is, oh, sorry, Deidre, will you be my listener?
Absolutely.
Okay. So AI is interesting, and I always like to say, and I've been saying it for a couple of years now, AI will be our new bosses.
You have been characterizing AI as our future bosses. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes, and it's interesting. I really like all those things that Edwin said. That's really interesting because that is the wave of the future technology, and we can't go backwards.
And AI is the wave of the future. You're excited about how Edwin has been thinking about it could be used, but you see it's the wave of the future.
Yes, and I remember maybe like 6 years or 7 years ago, where AI was used to mediate a case in Hawaii, and it settled successfully. So mediators are thinking, "Will AI take our jobs?"
Also, there's a precedent in Hawaii of using AI as the mediator, and it was successfully resolved, and that gave everyone paused in the mediator community. It's like, what does this mean?
Yes, my personal belief is that I don't think that AI will be able to fully take over mediation and the redress practice.
But you're of the opinion that AI does not have the capacity to take over completely the mediation and redress
Yes. So
portion of it.
regarding like a case study where you're in a mediation and you're meeting with the attorney and the attorney says, "Hey, if my client does this, I need you to caucus right away." AI can't do that.
There's still something essential of the relationship between the mediator and the attorney in achieving the goals that's something you don't see AI being able to accomplish.
Yes, because if you're in a room with the participant, if you're in the room with the participant and they start to display like stressful body movements, you read their body language is negative, and you know that that person needs a break. AI won't be able to determine that they need a break. But visualizing, seeing that this person is about to um, be a little irate or get a little violent, AI wouldn't be able to detect that. In person, you can.
Uh, so, what I'm hearing you say is that um, AI doesn't have the capacity to interpret body language in the way that mediators in the room have the ability to do. So I think I'm hearing there's some comfort there.
Yes, yes, yes. But for the most part, a lot of mediators and people, period, are using AI. And Edwin, I like the fact that you're taking it to a whole nother level with a podcast. I think that's awesome.
So you're excited to hear that Edwin is utilizing these resources to make the podcast, but you do see that everybody is turning things over to AI in different
Yes, and there's
ways.
good and bad because look at all of these people who are out of their jobs because of AI. You know, hundreds and hundreds and thousands of federal workers are out of their jobs because of AI.
So you're tying the loss of federal jobs to AI, is what I hear, and that it's really sad that so many people are being replaced by this new
Yes,
technology.
and it is devastating on more than one level because you're going to always need people. You know, even with I have friends who drive trucks, even seeing the 18 wheelers on the road with no driver. How, I mean, at some point, I mean, it's just, I mean, a deer running across the street at midnight and you're driving an 18 wheeler, can, how's that managed? You know, I just think that AI is, it's good and it's bad.
You're definitely reflecting on the pros and cons of this new technology and all of the ways that it's been incorporated into our lives, even in the form of a driverless 18 wheeler. And what would it be like to try and cross a road in the night, reliant on technology to keep you safe? It's good and it's bad.
Yes, and I don't want to deny that I haven't used it because I do use it in my business and my practice, and it's very helpful, even with dealing with some clients, you know, but letting the clients know in advance what's going on, you know, just letting them know. So it has its advantages for business owners.
So there are definitely opportunities to use this in your work, and you always disclose with your clients, but as a business owner, it has made a lot of the processes easier.
Yes, as far as marketing and technology people, you sometimes can just put it there, and you won't need a marketing coordinator. It's interesting, and I'll leave it there.
Okay. You brought up another example of somebody whose work could be done with the AI, with the marketing coordinator. But in the end, you'll just leave it there.
I feel heard.
All right. Thank you. Uh, Rosa, would you be my listener?
Yes, and I'm realizing I lost track of when did we start?
So
We
it's
started at
11:17.
yeah, we have 13 minutes.
Okay, okay, great.
Mm,
Yes, I'm happy to be your listener.
thank you. So I happen to serve on some national boards, and I'm about to celebrate my 30th anniversary in the museum field.
Wonderful. Congratulations. You have about to celebrate your 30th anniversary in the museum field.
And in my roles on the boards, an editorial board and with museum volunteers nationally and with my volunteer work in community building, I was very intrigued to hear about the book project.
Hmm. And you also work in a role that involves volunteers and community building, also around museums, it sounds like. And so you were very intrigued about the book that the chapter that Edwin and I were writing for a book on museums.
Exactly. And I will be in Los Angeles in May, early May, for the American Alliance of Museums conference. And one of the sessions that I was very intrigued by was the Sensory Museum that's based in the UK and the idea of radical inclusivity and accessibility.
Oh, so there's a sensory museum in the UK that does a lot of radical inclusivity, and you're interested in going to their session at this conference that you're attending, an upcoming conference in LA.
And and I try in all of my conference um, attendance to incorporate my other practices of community building, and so I always will try to couch surf or use my connections with Servas International to find a host so that I can be grounded in the community when I'm present for a conference.
Ah, so you have this lovely personal practice of wanting to, whenever you go to a conference, to become more grounded in the local community. And one of the ways you do this is by either couch surfing or seeing if through this service organization that you're a part of, you can find some local people to stay with so that you can connect with the community, not just go to a conference.
Exactly. And at the same time, reflecting on our conversation about AI, the Science Museum that I work for is hosting a summer exhibition on helping people better understand the nuances of AI. And I'm thinking about a potential collaboration.
Yeah, so you have a museum where you were employed that is going to be doing a whole exhibit helping people understand the nuances of AI.
And I'm very intrigued by the podcast possibility, and I think I'll explore that further.
Mhm. So you're interested in following up this podcast that Edwin's working on and exploring that.
But ultimately, I find that my sort of life practice is weaving together a lot of disparate interests and trying to find a narrative that will hold it all. And I think it comes down to connection.
Yeah, so you notice that one of your gifts or life practices is being a weaver of many different things that interest you and finding a way to create narratives that hold them all together, and you're seeing one of the connecting threads being connection.
And since this is Global Volunteer Month, I want to just thank each of you for participating in this event, because I feel like this is, in fact, where we have agency, is how we choose to spend our time. And I'm just grateful
Yeah,
for that.
you're letting us know that it's Global Volunteer Month. I had no idea. And so you're appreciating that each of us are choosing to volunteer to spend our time and show up here, because you're seeing where we choose to spend our time is a significant way that we each have agency.
Mhm. And I'll plant one seed to be complete, and that is 2026 is designated by the United Nations as the International Year of Volunteers in Sustainable Development. And if we think about all of the sustainable development goals, number 3 is good health and well-being. And that is where I think the empathy circles land squarely. And I,
Yeah, you're seeing good health and well-being, which is number 3 in the UN sustainability goals, as a place where empathy circles can really land. And you're reminding us that 2026 is the UN, I believe, Year of the Volunteers in Sustainable Development.
yes, I feel heard. Thank you very much.
Great. We have time for one more.
Yeah, and then we have 6 minutes.
Okay. Shall I take a turn, or should we do some kind of little closing ritual, or
We
how
can do
should we
some
do it?
closing. Yeah, would be nice.
Let's do a closing ritual. So I'll take like a short turn, a couple minutes in closing, and then just pass it around and we can each say some closing words. Does that sound good?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Ah, this has been a very thought-provoking, rich conversation for me, and I am really, really glad I have chosen to spend my time here. I am very much a long-term volunteer. I love the song "We Are the Volunteers of America," um, and yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of longer conversations I would like to have with each one of you. It's been a while since we've caught up, Edwin, and I know that you used AI a little bit when we were working on that chapter, but and that was fine with me, but I was not yet deep into my AI exploration. So now that I am, I'd love to have another conversation with you about it. Deirdre, it's been a real pleasure. I would love to have all kinds of conversations with you. And Brenda, deep honor to meet you. Very happy to learn about your mediation work and would love to get to know you better.
I think that your fan just went on, Rosa, getting him something.
Yeah, there's a lot of background noise all of a sudden.
Oh, that did it. Yeah, that's good. Well, let me just mute you. No, it's coming from somewhere else. It's from Brenda. See. So if you want to, I just was just checking your. If you want to unmute Brenda and speak.
Oh, okay. Oh, so what I want to say is that it was a pleasure to meet each of you. And one of the things I really, really love about the empathy listening circles is learning something new. And what I can say is that each time I come, I learn something new. And the other thing I can say is that it's not a coincidence, the room that you're in. So we're all in this room together because we were supposed to be. So I am grateful to to get to feel your energy and to learn something about each of you. I'm a high energy person, if you can kind of tell, and I see the glass is half full, not half empty. And everybody's at a different level, so you meet them where they are, but you don't let anybody dim your light, is what I believe. And I see each of your lights shining really bright, and I'll leave it there.
Okay, I'll just jump in. I put in the link to the AI. There's a lot of questions there, and then if you follow through to the sub pages, there's all the how AI replied to all those questions. And then also while we were talking, couldn't resist. I ran our photo of what we're doing here into AI, and I said convert it to Ghibli style, which is a certain style of a photo. And this is like super hot. Somehow this Ghibli style, it's like everybody's been doing it. So anyway, it's just just a lot of fun to sort of play around with this stuff. And it's been just the whole summit's been wonderful in this circle too, reconnecting Deirdre and Brenda with you two, having not seen you. It's been a delight. And of course, seeing you again, Rosa. Look forward to us getting together tomorrow.
Well, I am full of love and gratitude. You can feel that, but I will also say, be careful what you feed the beast, Edwin. Every time you push somebody's face into AI, it lives forever to be used as needed. So I want to
Yeah,
make
it's true.
sure that I caution you on always getting permission before you feed something, somebody else's intellectual property or their image or any of that stuff, because there are maniacs out there. And let me say something more calm, which is what a wonderful time to be in space with you. I had no idea what to expect today, and I am just so delighted. And I really, when Rosa was speaking, I was like, I hope that I have that opportunity. And then when Brenda appeared, I was like, Brenda will not recognize me, but I so recognize being in breakouts with Brenda. So this is just, it's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Edwin, for holding this space for all of us to connect and reconnect.
Okay, I think great. So I think we're ready to close. Go back to the
And
main
Edwin,
room.
I'd like to say, I think we look much younger than
In those photos.
we look much better. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you can choose any style that you want. It could be Rembrandt style or Monet style, or it's just, yeah, the possibilities is pretty amazing for the AI. So
Well, I appreciate everything you said, Deidre, about being aware of what you put out there, because that's a real thing, especially in the times we're in now. So we have 30 seconds. So I enjoyed you all. I'm going back into the room. Thank you.
Yes, yes, yes.
you'll have a chance to debrief there as well. So
Okay.
see you there.